were just presenting on a sales enablement conference.
Yeah.
I was watching this presentation, and I know that you are actually practicing what you preach.
Oh,
and
yeah.
our clients that are working with you, they can really. It's just like a interesting experience. It's rewarding, this whole sales process.
Yeah.
So basically, like, can you say a bit more about this angle, like how this kind of tool, this kind of approach, how to really make now sales process a bit more friendly towards the client, and how to engage the client in the whole process, right?
Yeah.
Because it's probably also improving results, but it's improving also client satisfaction.
Yeah. So I have two general but simple answers. So first one, I really like what Amazon has as a statement in their leadership code of conduct, and what they say there is that in everything what they do, they start with the client and act backwards, right? So I think the first thing to have in mind to make the sales process engaging is to have this client in your mind in the first place, right? So imagine whether what you are selling is really interesting for the client, right? Is it his end goal? And in many cases, when we talk about B2B business, it is not. So it's some kind of a path to achieve the final goal, right? So, as an example from my very industry, I can name again this credit example, right? So, no one who's I don't know any person who got excited about taking credit, right? So, like, getting up early morning and saying like, oh yeah, I would drink perfect espresso today and take credit, right? So this is not the case. I mean, credit is not something which is exciting for anyone, right? So in this case, what I would advise is to really have this client in mind and think, okay, so what is really exciting for this client, right? So how can I talk with this client, having this credit in mind, which obviously is my goal as a banking representative, but keep the client engaged in discussion about the credit, having his end goal in mind, right? So this is the first thing is, I would say, client perspective, to really have it. And it may be surprising, but it's often the case that in sales, barely any salesman really has the client's perspective in mind. They are close to the customers, but they have their own their own perspective, like everyone has, right? But you have to put some effort and have this customer's perspective in the first place.
And to make it a bit more like specific, so because we were discussing that, for example, when you're selling virtual branch, you are actually branding it for the client brand, and this is something that makes also the clients excited because they actually see how this product could look like if they actually use it, right?
Yeah, this is perfect example. I mean, as a technological company, as we are, we could start with elaborating what kind of tech stack we use, how it's going to be integrated and stuff like that. But it is not exciting for many of our, with people who we talk to. So what we do is, like you said, when we demonstrate it, we try to already brand it in the colors and logos of our customer who we meet, right? So, for example, a specific bank is watching in the demo version already, let's say, its logo, its colors, right? So they feel like, oh, okay, so it could look like this in reality, right? And we spent a lot of time presenting it and talking about this. This makes people exciting because they see what they would like to achieve when thinking about moving sales and service towards digital, right? So they see like, oh, it could look like this. So for me as a banking employee, it might be potentially the end goal, right? And I'm presenting the end goal. So yeah, this is really good example. But to answer your question fully, I would say there is one more important thing. So the times are rapidly changing, right? So we have the access to really vast amount of information, and what we expect, since we have less and less time for everything, we have more and more trash information all around. So what we expect is to have not boring communication with someone, or to receive not boring offers, or to have not boring relationships and so on and so forth. So when you try to sell something, it's I think it's good to have in mind to keep it attractive. And many salespeople they act like they used to 10 years ago. I mean, they started the work, I don't know, 20, 15, 10 years ago. Something was back then, it was cool from their perspective, and they think that it's still cool for many clients, right? But in the meantime, you know, there were plenty situations all around the world changing how we work, how we live, right? How we perceive things, and why to expect that the offer template in, I don't know, MS Word Times New Roman size 12, right? The font, why it should still remain attractive after 20 years of doing the same kind of offers, right? For let's say clients in the very same market. It is not attractive. It's annoying, and many clients they at some point they do not see these offers really. So what they do is they have a few providers, and they really do not recall who was offering what. So what they focus on is pricing, right? So give me the lowest price, because they do not receive any kind of attractive communication, I don't know, some kind of interaction, right? So, which could lure their attention and wake them up. Because from my perspective, it's often the case that when I observe experienced salespeople interacting with clients, I see some level of automation on the client side. So he's like, yeah, we have to do the handshake, we have to do the quick chit chat in the beginning. He's gonna present me this offer which he was presenting me for last 10 years, right? So it's gonna be pretty much the same. It's the same as from the other providers. So everyone is pretending that that they're interested in it, but they're not in reality in many cases.